Texte en anglais, puisque c'est comme ça qu'il m'a été soumis. J'en profite pour rappeler que c'est aussi un signe du soft power yankee qui s'amuse à détruire toutes les langues. Alors, amis francophones, à la traduction, je vais vous mettre encore une fois au travail, désolé. Et puis tous les traducteurs en général, merci pour votre travail. Peut-être que vous pouvez fonder une commune chaviste. So the resignation of our newly elected government, led by Sébastien Lecornu, on October 6, 2025, just hours after forming his government, demonstrates the accuracy of the analysis of PRCF. Indeed, since the end of 2020, well before the re-election of the illegitimate despot Macron in April 2022, and the dissolution of the government of June 2024, we have repeatedly explained that whatever government is in place, it will be impossible for it to gain popular approval. For beyond the now frantic turnover of prime ministers, the real problem is the policy that the proponents of the Euro-Atlantic order want at all costs to convert the workers of France who are increasingly reluctant to accept this order. This is therefore a serious crisis of political legitimacy, in line with that Lenin already explained, since those at the bottom no longer want it, and those at the top can no longer continue to live the old way. The old way, however, is the set of Euro-Atlantic policies that have been pursued for nearly half a century by successive governments, from Raymond Barre, who was singing the praise of austerity as early as October 1976, to Sébastien Lecornu, who was planning a new bloodletting for workers. This austerity policy is demanded by the MEDEF, French Business Confederation, but also by the supranational institutions of capital, starting with the capitalist European Union and its currency, the euro, whose predecessor, the European monetary system, was established in 1979. It is quite striking to note that the discredit on impasse in which Macron finds himself are exactly the same as those affecting Donald Trump on his henchmen Benjamin Netanyahu and Volodymyr Zelensky. You would have been born yesterday not to see how, on the one hand, the fascist Israeli theocracy is continuing its policy of annihilation the Palestinian people, notably by starving them, as advocated by the fascist finance minister Bezalel Smotrich, and on the other hand, how the regime in Kiev, which Donald Trump has decided to support even more, is riddled with corruption at all levels, revisionist, neo-Nazism and anti-communism, which has been targeting progressive politicians and trade union activists since 2014. Above all, one would have been to be completely blind not to see how the center of the world is gradually shifting toward the Indo-Pacific axis, as pictorially demonstrated by the 25th Congress of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization on August 30, 31 and September 1st of this year. An anti-hegemony code force is developing under the impetus of the People's Republic of China and the Russian Federation, attracting regimes that are sometimes less than commendable, such as Wahhabi Saudi Arabia. But at least the Motley coalition is taking shape, which includes progressive regimes, such as Socialist Cuba. Is providing a growing counterweight to US hegemony, which is becoming more discredited by the day. From now on, the only solution available to the Euro-Atlantic order is to rush headlong into fascism and march toward war, as is already happening in the United States, where Vice President James D. Vance couldn't care less about killing innocent people in international waters in total violation of maritime law, was portrayed as drug traffickers by Yankee propaganda and threatening the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. As a result, the United States and its allies have no choice but to rush headlong into war, pushing for the encirclement of the People's Republic of China and the Russian Federation, notably via the Arctic and the annexion of the Greenland claimed by Donald Trump, and the bombing of opponents of imperialism such as Iran and Venezuela, and a frenzied and frightening arm race with the goal of allocation 5% of the national budget of NATO member countries to rearmament. Beyond the Cornelius resignation and Macron's downfalls, all of this is actually at stake. In this regard, refusing to call Macron's resignation constitutes a real betrayal of the workers and worse, continues to fuel the Euro-NATO machine, which is vital to break with as soon as possible. And of course, it will be illusory to believe that all the country's problems will be magically solved if Macron resigned or was impeached, for if this means that Le Pen-Bardella duo, equally committed to the Euro-Atlantic orders, will come to power and thus allow fascist forces to wage a witch hunt against foreigners, Muslims, trade unionists, progressive and communist forces. It will be, of course, impossible to accept. This is why the only solution lies in the red and tricolor alternative, popular and patriotic, which the PRCF has been calling for years and which requires a progressive Brexit. In line with the tricolor struggle, we call more than ever not only to weaken as such as possible the defenders of the Euro-Atlantic order in France, but also at the same time to pursue the only possible political strategy that have been validated by the working class, namely breaking with the Euro, the EU, NATO, and exterminatory capitalism. Only at this price will it be possible to build the new happy days, les jours heureux, called by the PRCF, for which so many resistance fighters and comrades sacrifices themselves. For the illegitimate Macron, resign, and for the Euro-NATO axis, let's get out!